Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're tackling AI in education. And, let's just say it's a hot topic. We're looking at this, it's a pretty thought-provoking article. It's by Amy Horrocks, PhD AI to personalize education. More like corner the market. Catchy, right? But it really digs into some tough questions about, the motivations behind the push for AI in our schools.
Yeah, this article doesn't pull any punches. It really challenges that whole narrative we keep hearing, about AI being the magic bullet for personalized learning. Hurricks flips the script. They suggest maybe, just maybe, there's some other factors at play here.
Right. Like, what about the bottom line for these tech companies? Remember that Jack Welch quote? If you're not number one, you're out. It feels relevant. I mean, Harx seems to think some companies might be taking that same approach to education, right? That it's less about actually helping students learn and more about, market dominance.
Exactly. And that raises some red flags, right? Who really benefits from all this technology? I mean, Horrocks uses this term corporatization to describe what's happening. And it makes you think if education becomes just another product, something you buy and sell, what happens to the heart of education?
It's a little unsettling when you put it like that. Like, instead of fostering a love of learning, we're just churning out data points.
Yeah.
Oh, and Horrocks actually uses this kind of funny example in the article about, like, AI grading Shakespeare essays.
Ah, that's a good one. I mean, it just highlights how ridiculous this all can get. Like, are we really going to trust robots to teach our kids about, the human condition? I don't know about that.
Feel like we're trying to put, I don't know, a technological Band-Aid on a much deeper problem. Like Horrocks argues we should be focusing on the root causes of the problems we see in education. Not these quick fixes, right? Things like lack of funding for schools, huge class sizes, the pressure on teachers.
Right, absolutely. Horrocks actually says throwing AI at these problems is like, and I quote, patching a sinking ship with duct tape. I mean, you're doing something, but is it really helping? And this is where it gets even trickier when we think about students with, learning differences.
That's what really struck me, too. The article talks about how important human connection is in special education,
Yeah.
that adaptability. And those aren't things an algorithm can just, replicate.
Exactly. Think about it. If you're struggling in school, who would you rather have help you? A teacher who gets you or some machine just spitting out generic feedback?
Makes you wonder, are we so obsessed with this tech revolution
Yeah.
that we're forgetting about the humans? I
Mhm.
mean, I think about my own education, and it was my English teacher, Mrs. Thompson. She really made me love reading. She got me. And that's something I don't think an algorithm can ever do.
It's so true. And Howrix makes a really strong point about this. Instead of, throwing more AI at the problem, why not invest in what we already know works? Attract great teachers, right? Smaller classes so they can actually connect with their students and address the stuff that burns teachers out.
Right. It's like we're trying to build this, like, super high-tech spaceship,
Hmm.
but we're ignoring the cracks in the foundation. And Hurwitz points out, it's often the students who need the most help who get left behind.
Exactly. And that's a huge issue. If we're serious about personalized learning, shouldn't we be building a system that helps teachers meet those individual needs, give them the resources, support, and honestly value their expertise? Don't push them aside.
It's like we're so busy chasing the shiny new tech thing
Hmm.
that we forget to ask, hold on, is this actually making anything better? Or are we just
Yeah.
uh, slapping a new label on the same old problems?
That's it, exactly. And that's where, we need critical thinking.
Hmm.
Horrocks talks about being careful consumers of all this technology. Don't just buy the hype, right? Ask the tough questions. Who benefits? What are the downsides? Are we really serving all learners? It's not about rejecting technology altogether. It's about being smart, being mindful about how it's used and who it's actually serving.
So it's about making sure tech is a tool, right? Something that empowers, not something that controls or, and this goes back to Horrocks, not a way to just make more money off of education.
Yeah, absolutely. And that brings us back to that idea of corporatization. Horrocks uses this image. They say it's like patching a sinking ship with duct tape. It's kind of a funny image, but it makes you think, right?
It really does. It makes you think about the long game. Like, what happens if we just hand over education to corporations and algorithms?
Right.
What happens to the heart of it all?
That is the big question, isn't it? And it's not just for educators to figure out. It's on all of us. Because, education is the base. It's how we prepare future generations to deal with this world.
It's true. It's bigger than just what's happening in classrooms. It's about the kind of future we want. Yeah, it feels, I don't know, almost like we're at a turning point, right? Like we have this amazing chance to really use technology to help students, but we could also kind of lose sight of what really matters, if we're not careful.
It is. It's a balancing act, that's for sure. And I think the key is we have to change how we think about it. It's not just about integrating technology, it's about integrating it thoughtfully. Does that make sense?
Right, right. And I think Hyrex actually talks about this toward the end of the article. Like, instead of trying to, I don't know, make teachers obsolete with AI, why not use it to empower them?
Exactly. That's the ticket. Give teachers AI tools, right? Help them personalize lessons, figure out where kids are struggling, even just, take some of that administrative stuff off their plates.
Yes. Imagine if, like, AI could grade those Shakespeare essays, and teachers could spend more time actually talking with their students about the book, about the meaning.
Right. The technology becomes a partner, helping teachers make those lessons even better, more engaging.
I like that. It's a good vision for the future. But, like Horrocks says, it's not going to happen just magically. We have to make it happen,
We
right?
can't just sit back, yeah.
We have to ask those hard questions, hold these tech companies accountable, fight for policies that put students and teachers first.
Absolutely. It all comes back to values, remembering that education. It's human, It's about connecting, being creative, having that love of learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And to everyone listening, we want to hear your take on all this. As AI enters our classrooms, what gives you hope? What worries you? What does the future of education look like to you? Keep those conversations going. And let's make sure technology serves us, not the other way around. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.